Well, there are some other specific types. Short blue beings. My sister-in-law saw those, and she's an artist. I had her draw them. And I've since
Are
shown
these
her.
the ones that Whitley Strieber describes as like the mean, like?
Yeah, short little troll-like things. And if you look at his movie Communion, where they did a representation of them, the figures in his movie are strikingly similar to what my sister-in-law drew. I mean, really close. And I showed this picture to other contactees who's like, yeah, I saw short blue beings. I'm like, hold on a second. I have an illustration I'd like to show you. And they're like, oh my God, that's very much what I saw. I showed it to Dolly because she did see them. And she's like, yes, that is absolutely very close to accurate. We didn't get too much into tall grays, but there are short grays, medium-sized grays, and tall grays. So these short blue beings are a very specific type that turns up fairly frequently. And another is tall whites.
Well, going back to the blue ones, the small blue beings. What's to this Strieber characterization that they're unpleasant? I think is the way he described them.
Yeah, well, Strieber, each person reacts to this experience often with very strong emotions. And Strieber had a lot of fear surrounding his encounters. He admits this, and I think this is part of the reason he was initially a writer of horror fiction, because he had been dealing with a lot of fear. And certainly if you read his book, it's terrifying. It's one of my favorite books out there, I will say that, on the subject, because he's an excellent writer and describes very vividly, and I think accurately as well. But I think when someone has a very strong fear reaction, your immediate go-to is, this is bad. I don't like this. This is evil. This is bad for me. This is scaring the living daylights out of me. And I've asked contactees over and over again, like, who have had, this is horrible. I think they're demonic. I think they're evil. I'm like, what happened to you? Well, they looked at me. I'm like, okay. Did they actually hurt you? Well, no, but they had an evil, the way they were looking at me, I could just tell. I'm like, but they didn't hurt you. What did they say? Don't be afraid. We won't hurt you. Over and over again, I hear that phrase, literally word for word, with slight variations, like, have no fear. No harm will come to you. So the very, most evil thing, in quotes, I've heard is people being laid out and they're like protesting as they are undressed and examined. But no one describes what I would call sadistic behavior or outright torture, where the ET's going, I'm going to hurt you. No, that's just not what's going on here. And for the first year or two I was involved in this, I was horrified. I'm like, people are being kidnapped against their will. These are bug-like creatures. They have no regard for human compassion. And there is some aspect of them not understanding people's fear. I mean, that
that's, as you noted, like the AI grays don't have emotions, right?
Yeah. And certainly that does turn up, where people are like, these guys had no compassion. Well, yeah, those were the AIs. And Whitley Strieber is like, the Greys asked him, what can we do to stop you from screaming? They weren't evil as we would think of it. When someone's kidnapped on Earth, it rarely ends well. Here, people are being healed. I've got a book on that. One of my books is, 300 cases, people who are healed. And these are supported cases with doctors, diagnosis before and after, x-rays, the whole deal. I mean, some people have sent me their medical records supporting like a cancer cure and things like this. I'm working on another case right now of a guy who was healed of a hernia. He's got his doctor reports. So my point is, people might have a strong fear reaction, and that causes them to label this as bad or evil. No, the little blue guys. I asked Dolly about this. It's funny, because my sister-in-law, Christy, says, oh no, I thought of them as my friends. I enjoyed it when they came. And they were recording her memories. They were interested in her perceptions up to that time. And Dolly says that they often contact children and they try to help them with their fear. And they're very friendly. She said she thought they were really cute, actually. And I've had a number of people describe the grays but being very lovely, very cute. I interviewed a guy just recently at an encounter in Canada. It was some years ago. He had it as a teenager, but he saw a gray outside while hiking at night, and he stopped and his eyes went wide and he put his head forward and he stared at it. And the gray did the same darn thing in an exaggerated way, kind of like he and it went at him. And then he shook his head and the gray did the same thing, kind of mimicking him in a playful way. He said it really reduced his fear. And it was just being funny and playful. So I've come more and more to that sort of side that, no, they're not here to hurt us. It can be very scary for people, but often your fear will color your perception.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. Additionally, if you have any feedback, please put something in the comments below. And lastly, if you want to watch the full episode of this clip, you can find it above. Thanks again for watching.